Archuleta, you're about to embark on kind of a new adventure for you, Raton High School boys varsity basketball coach.
The high school level is definitely something new for sure. Been fortunate to coach the junior high kids for the last 3 years and had a great experience, and hopefully those kids did the same. And so had an opportunity to look at the Raton High School position and interview for that. And after all the interviews, the decision was made to give me a shot at coaching the high school. So very excited about that opportunity. Really looking forward to it.
Since you've been coaching junior high for the last 3 years, then you've got a couple of, probably have some of the boys coming up into your JV slots, right?
A lot of the kids that are going to make up probably the majority of the varsity team were just finishing up their junior high careers when I was entering. And so I haven't really coached those boys directly, but I'm familiar with a lot of those kids and really familiar with a lot of what they're capable of doing on the basketball court for sure.
What are you looking forward to? You've had a little bit of time in the gym looking at some of the boys, but of course not all of them are there yet. But what are you kind of looking forward to so far coming up this year?
Well, you know, we don't have a ton of experience per se in comparison to a lot of the teams that we've played, and I think that was probably one of the biggest Achilles last year his teams faced. It was really young group trying to go up against seasoned veterans that were juniors and seniors, and you know, they had a tough team. Coach San Roman really kind of had his work cut out for him last year. But with another year under their belt, and they're a little bit bigger, they're a little bit faster. We don't play as much basketball as we probably need to in the off season. So that's why I'm having open gyms to try and get these guys dialed in a little bit. But really, I think what I'm looking forward to is really trying to get a group of kids that are going to be committed to winning. You know, in basketball, it's probably a little bit easier numbers-wise compared to football or baseball. And so really what I've preached to the kids who showed up is give me 8 kids that are going to be willing to work hard, commit to basketball, commit to doing the things that we know we need to do in order to get better. And I think we can put up a competitive team this coming year for sure.
You had an opportunity to kind of watch the varsity and JV teams last year. Did you see some things that you want to do a little different or change up to make things work better?
Yeah, I think primarily I'm a big math guy, and statistics kind of tell a story of most games. We looked at the numbers, and you know, as a team, we shot less than 20% from the field, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But if we don't improve our shooting percentage, we're not going to win many games. I think the team averaged probably less than 40 points during district season. That doesn't give you a lot of you know, hope for wins when you're doing that. So one of the things we've already started working on is trying to improve the kids' shooting form, give them the basic groundwork of proper, you know, shot and what that's going to entail. Second part of that is going to be really driving home the point that half our shots are probably going to have to come from the paint if we're really going to be effective on offense. I know we settled for the outside shot a lot more than we probably should have last year, and I think a lot of the kids even recognize that. But really making that commitment to getting that ball into the paint and shooting more, you know, than 50 to 60% of our shot from that area. Those two things just really open the door for a lot of different benefits. So that's going to be the key. That's what we're going to focus on, is just better shooting form and getting closer shots, and hopefully, you know, being able to put 60, 70 points up in a game. We do that, we'll win a lot more games than we did last year for sure.
There's a lot of people who said that three-point line just ruined basketball in a lot of ways. Working it inside, not just to get it inside the paint, but a lot of the problems we had last year, as I recall, was rebounding and stuff inside the paint.
Yeah, you know what? We look at defensively, and we can look at the stats there. We weren't that great defensively. We were out-rebounded in the majority of the games, and especially in our district games. You know, what I've preached to the kids early on that have been attending the open gym is defense and rebounding is about effort and about commitment. You know, you don't need a whole lot of skill from the standpoint of putting forth effort to guard and to go after a rebound. And so when you have a mindset of saying, hey, that ball's up in the air, I'm going to go get it. That ball is on the ground, I don't mind scuffing up my knees. That part of the game is more about effort than it is really skill. And so where offense is a lot about skill, defensive and rebounding is just about sheer effort. And that's what I want these kids to commit to, you know.
Did you see last year where some of the boys had a problem? They would get in and try to get inside, and they were getting called for fouls when they possibly shouldn't have. Did you see them back off when they did that?
Yeah, it gets frustrating if you're trying to do something repeatedly and you're not having much success at it. Then, you know what, you tend to kind of almost throw your arms up and give up. And as easy as that is to do, that's probably the worst thing you possibly can do. And I know that was a lot of the frustrations with the coaches last year and saying, hey, look, we're trying to get this thing done, but we just don't seem to be able to get through to the kids to be able to get this game plan implemented. And so really the biggest difference is really trying to show the kids what that impact can be. And that's what I do. I mean, I broke down the numbers for them and said, hey, look, if you commit to these two things, we decrease our opponent's points by 10 to 15 a game, and we increase ours by that. Now that's a 30-point difference, and there's the difference between winning and losing a lot of high school basketball games. So
The other thing that you will probably have to work on, I know last year it seemed like the boys by halftime, third quarter, they were dragging, it seemed like. So you're going to have to work on getting them in shape.
you know what, conditioning is always a big thing in any sport, and I've encouraged every basketball player, if they have an opportunity to play football, then by all means do it. It's going to toughen you up for the basketball season. I laugh because a lot of people say basketball isn't a contact sport, but the way I played basketball and the way I've seen it played at the highest level, there's going to be contact, so you better just get used to that. And so I encourage them to play football. It toughens them up. It gets them in condition for that. And if they can continue that through the summer, or through the spring, that's great. But conditioning is a key to any sport, and no different in basketball when you're running up and down the court. I mean, you do that for 4 quarters, it's going to get pretty tiring. So that obviously has to improve for sure.
So overall, what do you think you want to try to gain this year as your first year coming in?
You know what? I haven't really sat down and set a lot of goals in regards to wins and losses because, find out pretty early there's not a lot of people that are wanting to be around a program that was 3-23 last year, and so you kind of start from the ground level up. And there's 3 things, at least attitude-wise, that I've talked to the kids about. We call it ACE program. The kids are going to participate. They're going to have the right attitude in order to really kind of be involved and be part of the game plan. I just need kids to come in that are positive, willing to work, willing to learn. As far as commitment, it's the C part of ACE. If you're going to do something, you got to be committed to it. It's not just in basketball, but really in anything that you're going to be successful at. If you're not committed to it, it kind of reflects out on the court. And so I'm asking kids to be committed to it in the time that I have them there. And then effort. If you're not willing to put forth the effort and what it takes to improve and get better, it's not really good for the program. And so those 3 things are key for us and the kids that I'm trying to instill them. Have a good attitude, be committed to what we're doing, and then be sure you're going to put forth the effort, because that lays the foundation for us to build off that 3-23 season. And how quickly we're able to get those 3 things implemented with our kids will determine how successful we can be, because I really do think we have a good opportunity to improve dramatically this year. But those 3 things are going to be key to the improvement part of it.
And in the commitment part, are you going to set up any kind of a program for homework and stuff like that? Because that was one of the problems the kids had last year, was a couple of the kids were ineligible.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same situation at the junior high where we struggle with some eligibilities. And finally, by the 3rd year, the kids who really were committed to that, first and foremost, had to be committed to the academics. And so the kids that were there, we didn't really lose anybody to eligibility the last year that we were coaching at the junior high. From the 8th grade team, we lost one from the 7th grade team. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's where you try and preach self-responsibility, because you recognize, and the kids recognize that too, if you don't take care of what needs to be done in the classroom, then you're really not going to have an opportunity to play. And so we'll have work study sessions. The school has a lot of support and tutoring after school if needed. And so that's established already. I don't know if we need to do anything different. We just need to make sure kids are taking advantage of those programs that are available for them.
Okay, good luck, Coach.
I appreciate that, Marty. Looking forward to a good season.
Thank you.
All right.